Welcome to episode 2 of Like You Didn't Know, formerly known as the podcast about nothing, because apparently there are a lot of the podcasts about nothing, so I changed the name. The scary movie of the week is The Nanny on Amazon Prime. It's basically about she may be in her 20s, late 20s, early 30s. She's a Sinhalese immigrant nanny working for this, who originally appears to be a rich white family, but they may not actually be as rich as they claim to be. And basically she's left her home and left her only child in, I guess the country is Sinhalese or Senegal. She's left her only child in Senegal and is working for this white family, helping to raise their child. And it kind of shows the struggles between not only different cultures. It's funny because the little girl does not like eating the food that her mother prepares or leaves for her when her mother leaves food for her, and wants to eat the nanny's food. And of course, as we all know, the little girl and the nanny get really close to the point where the little girl doesn't even listen to her mother. It's not like a jump out scare horror movie. It's more like a thriller. It didn't end how I thought it was going to end. But basically she's being plagued by thoughts and visions, and at the end you finally figure out why. One of the ridiculous lawsuits that I found was a man who sued himself and asked the state to pay. Apparently this guy, his name was Robert Lee Brock, filed a lawsuit against himself for $5 million, claiming that he violated his own civil rights. He stated that his religion forbids the use of alcohol, and even though that was the case, he made the choice to drink, which caused him to commit the crimes that put him behind bars in 1993. Those crimes were breaking and entering and grand larceny. He claims that he forced himself to, or caused himself to violate his own religious beliefs, and he wants himself to pay $5 million. But of course, he doesn't have $5 million. So he's saying that the state should actually pay on his behalf, since he's pretty much a warden of the state. Of course, it was dismissed. I'm kind of curious to know how much he paid to file that lawsuit against himself. Bizarre ways to die. Apparently, a 58-year-old Texan named Michael Warner died from a lethal sherry enema. One would think at 58 he would have known better than to try something like that. But I know I've heard, and I'm sure other people have heard, that any drugs that you want to get into your system and give you a faster effect, that's a better way to do it. Through your nose, through your anal cavity, is a lot quicker than smoking or drinking it. So apparently he was having a really bad day and felt like he needed a quick dose of alcohol. Obviously didn't end too well, because that ended up being his last day on Earth. Did you know that there is a correct way to brush your teeth? According to an article by Allure, a dentist that they interviewed revealed the best way to brush your teeth. Apparently you should start with a rinse in the morning. They recommend a mouthwash with 0 alcohol, but of course I'm sure you could probably use water as well. Then you should clean between your teeth. I don't really think you need to do that in the morning. Of course, I'm not a dentist, but I feel like if you floss the night before, which they recommend, I feel like you really don't have to do it in the morning. But I guess whatever order you choose to do it in. Me, personally, I would probably do this routine, or I have been doing this routine at night. So you rinse your mouth with like Listerine or water. Then you would floss. Then you would brush with patience. They recommend tilting your toothbrush at a 45-degree angle to the gum and brush in a circular motion into the gum. Then, of course, make sure that you also do your tongue, which some people do forget to do. When you brush they suggest that you make sure that you're getting as close to the gum line as possible. Of course, that helps get any plaque or whatever else from off your gum line. I've tried it. I feel like my gums and teeth seem healthier. I would suggest you guys try it as well, just to see. I will preface this by saying that I am not a sports fan at all. The only time that I really watch sports, football especially, is during the Super Bowl or if I'm forced to watch it with somebody else. But even I've heard of the dangers of football. We've heard of players getting serious concussions, passing out, having lifelong injuries, you name it. It's probably happened. Of course, broken bones, all that kind of stuff. Even to the point where we've heard of players way into the future after their football careers are over, snapping and killing their wives or spouses or whatever. But apparently there was a guy, a Buffalo Bills safety, named Damar Hamlin. And he's in critical condition in Cincinnati Hospital, cause he suffered a cardiac arrest. He was only in his I think it was 24, mid-20s. Apparently he got hit really hard, stood up, and then fell to the ground. He was given CPR. Another article that I read said that they had to do it twice. So, I mean, that's really just a scary thing. And I know a lot of parents, especially parents with boys, want their children to kind of play sports, especially football. I know it's very popular in the Black community. I would just say weigh the pros and cons of it. There are a lot less physical sports that a kid could go into. I know the equipment does offer a little bit of protection, but of course it's not going to prevent, injuries from your head getting snapped back from getting run into or anything like that. Hopefully this guy is okay and doesn't suffer any long lasting injuries.